Is it over here?
Right here. I had some papers in here too.
Here it is. Okay. Who here has an Instagram account?
Me.
Personal or otherwise? So Sean does not.
I do not.
You do not have an Instagram or anything?
No.
I have a business one.
You have a business one. Okay. You can have multiple Instagram accounts, FYI. So you can have, like, I have 4. So I'm extra, as the kids say. There are people you can actually that do this, like run business Instagrams for a living. That's their job, and so they'll have like a phone with 10 Instagram accounts, another phone with 10 Instagram accounts, because you have up to 10. So that's how they work, is off these things. It's pretty crazy.
So how much can you have 10?
We can have 10, yeah. I will say, the thing about Instagram is that it's kind of ever evolving. So they'll change the algorithms, and you have to kind of try to keep up with what they are to stay relative and to use the app to the best of its ability for your business. So I thought so Facebook and Instagram are owned now by the same person, so that's why they are linked. And which can benefit you. So like if you're doing Instagram stories, for example, you can set it to where it'll automatically go to your Facebook stories as well. And that's beneficial because different people prefer the apps for different things. I have a lot of my local friends and like my family are really into Facebook, and so that's like really what that market is. A lot of Instagram people are actually more cold leads. I've become friends with people on Instagram that are like, it's like pen pals. Like I've never met them, but we talk almost every day for just varying reasons. Of course, my computer is updating now because that's convenient. So a lot of times people say, well, do I need a separate account for my business? Do I need a separate account for my, like either on Facebook? Do I need a page? That's the term for that, is a page on Facebook. Instagram's account, no matter which way you cut it. You can do a business account, but unless you are really doing like a lot of internet sales, I wouldn't even worry about it. I would just do a personal page because unless you're like wanting to do sponsored spots on Instagram where you're actually paying, just do personal. Otherwise, there's restrictions that you don't need to worry about. Now, as far as do you do a separate account or do you just start throwing in stuff personal, I kind of let them all go together in a sense. So how my Instagram developed into 4 accounts is I had started my own account. And then I started an account for my jewelry business because I designed jewelry and was really, for a while there, it was really rolling. And it's still something I really enjoy, but I've had to kind of set it to the side in this time of life because my Young Living business started really taking off and I was making a ton more money, and it just made sense to do that. I say a ton more money, but it was a ton more money with like per hours that I was putting into it. And so I have a joint account with the 2 other women that I have my educational and support group with. For the people who are already in. Now, anyone can access it because it's a public Instagram account, but that's for that. And then when I really started wanting to highlight like our toxin-free lifestyle, as I said earlier in my presentation, that it's kind of more of a lifestyle that I'm selling, I started a separate Instagram for that. So I actually hardly ever use my personal Instagram anymore. In fact, if I could delete it, I would. Right now, it just kind of sits there. The Full Quiver Instagram account is my main one, and regardless of whether you decide to have a separate account, so this would be the things that you need to think about because it's going to be different for everybody. Is if you are going to utilize Instagram and Facebook for your business, it needs to be public. Okay, there's no point because people are not going to request you to see your stuff if they don't know you. That's creepy. Why would I? You know what I mean? So it needs to be public. If you don't feel if you want to keep things private, then have a separate account that just you friends and family see, where you make off-color jokes and make political statements or whatever it is that you want to do to your core people, right? Now, I am a person that lives with her faith on her sleeve, so you will see God and Jesus in my comments. That's just who I am, and if it offends somebody, I don't care. I mean, that's just where you know what I mean? I don't get into a lot of political stuff just because I hate politics anyway. So I try not to put stuff up that I know is going to be like super contentious, because that is going to affect if people like me or not, you know, and it's going to affect my business. But I also, but there's different rules for different people. Just like if Nima comes in and he's wearing a suit, he's a lawyer, I can come in wearing jeans and a cute oils t-shirt and it doesn't discredit me because it's my business is, if that's okay for my business, right? So I can do, like a fitness trainer can put a picture of themselves in their bathing suit on their thing because that's part of their self, right? That would be weird if an insurance lady started posting pictures of herself in her swimsuit. You know what I mean? It wouldn't make sense. You know what I mean?
You may get her more business.
There's a mortgage guy in Anderson, and I used to work with him, and he only had one Facebook page, and he mixed business and personal. He was on a boat with his shirt off, and he's the kind of man that should not have his shirt off, with a big old beard. Right. And I'm like, yeah, they're going to call you for that, $1 million house, and you're little like Bubba over there. Right. So it's like you need to have your personal filters, and then you need to have your work.
Right. And so, and everyone's got to answer their own questions. So, some people are like, I live in the South, it's the Bible Belt, I don't want any pictures of alcohol on my Instagram feed. I'm okay with a toasting cheers for someone making an accomplishment. Like a networking party and Tookie and I have champagne glasses and we're cheersing. That's fine in my now 6 beers in on the beach is a different thing, right? So you just want to think about that.
Tastefully done.
Right. You want to think about what you're putting out there, obviously. And there's stuff I've struggled with, like how much do I share? Is this gonna blah blah blah? Like I just finished a fitness challenge, for example, and the woman asked me if she could put my pictures out. Now you can't see my face, but I have tattoos, so people who are gonna know me either way, like it's like a giveaway, right? So I was like, just tag me in it, it's fine. Like it's because again, I'm in health and wellness. But, even though that's not like fitness is not my avenue, like it would be hypocritical of me to not like you can't supplement a bad diet and no exercise. You know what I mean? So it goes along with but I did have to stop and like, do I do this?
Right.
So there's that.
For me, before and after pictures sell a lot because we're selling a service.
Exactly.
He might start a Facebook post or something like,
Before and after.
are you above 65?
No.
Like that. Something that's
Scare tactics.
Something that would get somebody's attention, and then are you above 65 and get their attention, and then you go with whatever.
Well, what I was wondering too is not so much because I'm not a media person. So what I was wondering is in this, some of the feedback I've gotten that Christy, my wife, has worked on, is that you can buy ads, you can target individuals based on their cookies and their search engines and stuff, and then provide through that advertisement a link back to a web page or something.
Yes. So I will say though, a lot of times you still have to have the Facebook page. Okay. So you have to have it's carried through your page. So you can't bypass that. Now, there's different rules for how all that works. So in Instagram, you can't put a link in your comments or in your your caption is the word. You can't put a link in your caption, but you can put a link in your profile. Okay, so they'll say link in profile, and you just scroll up to the top and hit the link. So I have links in my profile. I also have links to all my other Instagrams in there. So people want to go, because it's all makes me money. So they want to connect to the other things I do. That's there, right? I have a link to Ripple, for example, because I work with them on a regular basis, and I want to put them up in the forefront of what I do. So you can do that. You can, once you are what they call an influencer level, which is like 10,000 followers, you have more range. Like you can then put links in certain places. So you'll see like somebody and you're like, well, wait a second, I thought you couldn't put a link. It's because they've reached like the higher echelons of Instagram. Okay. So hashtags, let me talk about that really quick. Hashtags are really have like a whole science behind them. The purpose of a hashtag is for you, because some people don't know what it is at all. So the purpose of a hashtag is for you to be able to streamline and tag your photos. Okay. So and what Instagram has done now is you can actually follow hashtags. And what the benefit of following a hashtag is that person will like, there's potential for people to see your posts that don't follow you. So that's huge, right? So if I'm looking for, let's say, a realtor, I can actually hashtag realtor. As I type in realtor, Tookie's the first one to come up in my phone because we're friends, right? And we follow each other. So realtor, right?
It also helps you search people too. Like if you're, like even on Facebook, you can type in, if I put hashtag pressure cleaning Clemson or whatever, and then somebody puts up in the search bar, pressure washing in Clemson, it will pull up everybody
right.
that
uses that
so
tag.
it's a filter.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when I can do hashtag realtor, it'll have the top for me, right? It has accounts, so any accounts, tags, and then places. So I'm gonna tag, I pull up all the realtors, okay? So it is, you can look at the top, so the people who have the most interaction. So top is likes and commenting, or the most recent, okay? And then, so top, that's how things go viral, right? So the only time I ever went viral, meaning like all of a sudden my phone just went crazy, people started commenting and following on this one, I was making it was a jewelry post that I had done on my jewelry account, and I had made this young guy, like this really cool necklace that had a sword, and I hashtagged sword. Sword's a weird hashtag that no one ever uses. So it ended up hitting the top in the sword hashtag. So then it started popping up under anyone who's following that, anyone who has anything to do with sword, and that is how it ended up going crazy. Okay. So you can click, so these are just all top under realtor. So you can click on them, you can look at them, blah, blah, blah. I would always suggest local, putting in your location. A lot of people are like, well, I don't know if people, well, yeah, you do want people to know where your business is. It doesn't have to be where you are. You can choose your location. You can just do South Carolina. You can do upstate. You can do Clemson. You can do, and sometimes I change it because I live right on the other side of Clemson. So sometimes I do South Carolina. I change my location on there, right? So one of the things I want to talk to you about is the visual appeal of your Instagram page is a thing, okay? And what I mean by that is if you go to, y'all can pull out your phones if you want, and you can go to my page. It's called Full Quiver Family. So
gotta have Instagram to do that though, right?
Yeah, you have to have Instagram. So if you don't have Instagram, it's fine. So it's at Full Quiver Family.
I don't know.
Okay, so I'll just kind of go around. You'll see that.
Just Facebook. I don't do that.
So these buttons up at the top these are your they're called highlights. Okay, and now Facebook has them too. They just started doing them. These are collections of your stories. Okay, so the benefit of that, like you could do one for before and afters, right? The thing is you can only put things that have been in stories into the highlights. So you can't necessarily upload pictures. You have to put it in story. The good thing is before they started doing that, stories lasted for 24 hours, and unless you saved them to your phone, they were gone forever. Okay? Now they're there to put in your highlights. So I can do, so I have mine, I made it like you can make pictures, I do colors, right? So these colors are kind of like the color, these stories are like the color palette of my feed. So you want to make your feed look visually stimulating. So think of Instagram as a catalog for your business. Very different than Facebook. Because in Facebook, you don't see all the pictures all together unless you go look in somebody's photo albums, right? Instagram is that. That's what it is. So you'll see my color palette and my filters stay the same. Sometimes it's like, oh, this is a super cute picture of my kid, but they're wearing a neon green shirt. Guess what? They don't make Instagram because it doesn't go with it upsets the visual look of my, which sounds crazy. It sounds like I am like one of those crazy women on Instagram that like, you know, wants to Photoshop their life, okay? But you gotta get your head around what it's for. This is a catalog of you, and you want it to look nice, right? Stories is for the neon shirt, okay? Stories is where you can put all the crazy stuff that doesn't make sense, that doesn't like go with the look of what you're doing, all right?
So there's stories and there's newsfeed, right?
Right. So this is your news feed, right? So this, you can see my color all kind of just see it's all the same, similar colors, right? Now, I took this really amazing picture of a sunset, and I really wanted to put it on my Instagram
And your
feed.
Computer finished up.
Did it? Okay. So I started introducing some pockets of red. You see that? So it'll make visual sense. So you can do that during Christmas if you want to add in some red and green. You can do that as long as it still is within the same kind of flow and it makes sense. You use an app to do that. So you use your preview app, this app that I like, and I'll show you guys that in a minute. So this is my actual Instagram feed, news feed. What you're saying, feed, okay? We can go to my preview app, and first it kind of looks, is it working? Okay. Okay, so this looks the same as my feed, because it is, right? But if I scroll up, these are pictures that I have not posted yet, that I have in lineup for my feed. What this does is you can pick a day to do it, to where you're not having like, oh God, I gotta post Instagram, because consistency is one of the main things that's gonna bring people to your feed.
So you want to continuously post
every day.
So it has a scheduling.
Active.
Yep, so this is my scheduler.
But that's in a preview app.
This is the preview app, correct.
Not inside of Instagram.
No, not inside of Instagram.
That's not Instagram?
This is not Instagram, this is my app, my preview app.
Okay.
Right. So for example, I have posted up to here. All of these pictures are yet to be posted.
Gotcha.
But I can click on them and I can actually go ahead and write out my caption. Okay, so you can pre-write your captions and load them in here. It also has has hashtags. So this is a flower picture. Let's not do that one. Let's go back. I do like this cute picture of my son. I can add hashtags. I have one that's all my kid hashtags. Okay, so it built so I don't have to sit there and think about it. Okay, now when you do that, you're gonna want to use your same hashtags, because it's like Full Quiver Family is always on that hashtag. So in case someone hashtags Full Quiver Family, they find me, right? But I also want to add a few different ads, funny faces, kids of Instagram. All my kids have their own hashtag. So that I can go find all the pictures of that one kid in an instant, right? And so
you do want to try to rotate your hashtags out if you can, because otherwise you will get blackballed later down the road.
Well, if you're consistently posting on Instagram and you're always using the exact same hashtag, it will affect the way the algorithm sees you. Okay, because if you're doing it a lot, if you're posting once in a while, it's not a big deal. But if you're doing it a lot, the algorithm is looking for solicitation. So it's looking for people who are going on everyone's commenting, or they have what they call bots. So you can tell, because you'll have this like super sad post and they'll be like, this is a great post, thanks so much. And you're like, you can even freaking read it. Obviously, it's about my grandmother dying. It's not a great post, it's a sad post. And you know that that person is using a bot, or they're actually just soliciting people, right? They're going through it doing that.
So, why would you pick Instagram over Facebook?
So one reason I like Instagram over Facebook is because for business wise, it's super clean and controllable. You don't see anyone else's stuff. It's just me. So I can make it into what I want, right? You can't post on my thing. In Facebook, I could go post. If you're public, I can go post whatever I want. I can, you can take stuff off, right? But
I have mine set. I have to accept it. If somebody wants to post,
but
if they want to tag me,
right?
View it first.
I get to view it first.
Yes.
And normally I don't allow it to go on my Facebook page.
Right. So there's that.
Okay.
But you have to like do that.
Yeah.
That's you don't have to do.
So if I post on Facebook, will it automatically go to Instagram?
No, but the other way. But we can't. You can set it up for the other way around.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So if you post on Instagram,
people can't post on here.
Well, that's just. But what I'm saying is, if I log on to Facebook, right, I am inundated with stuff. It's messy. There's people stuff. I have to, even now they have done this thing where you can just look at your groups, because I have a bunch of groups that I use for my business, right? So I need to get on. I have to get on Facebook for work, or probably wouldn't do it, honestly. But if I log on to Instagram, this is what I see, right? It's just cleaner. So a lot of people who are annoyed by Facebook prefer Instagram, because Instagram it's a photo driven thing. So they just look at pretty pictures. They're not even reading
No video?
Well, yeah, you can do video, but it's silenced unless I tell it to, which Facebook does too. But it's a different, there are a lot of people who are moving away from Facebook into Instagram. I have a ton of friends that have Instagram that don't have Facebook anymore.
There's no advertisements on Instagram?
There are, but again, they're pictures. And you'll see, it'll say sponsored on the top.
Okay.
And Instagram's a lot younger.
It's a different group.
Facebook is an older crowd. So,
Yes.
I mean, I do both.
Right,
Okay.
yes. Like I said, I do both, okay? Now, one thing that I will say is, if you are on Instagram and you send it from Instagram to Facebook, Facebook automatically categorizes it as an Instagram photo. And I have had it happen where it'll actually, it thinks it's doing me a favor by bringing up my whole Instagram album in that post, which I want it to look like a separate post. So I don't actually use that feature. I will just copy my caption on Instagram and load it on Facebook manually, because otherwise it gets put into a category of Instagram pictures, and I don't want it to be that. Okay, so Josh has got my feed. So you can just see, these are my stories, and so if you click on Young Living, for example,
I don't know how fast this is.
not very fast.
Oh, because I didn't log in, I just went to it.
Oh, okay.
Maybe. Or maybe not.
I don't know. So anyway, I feel like, okay, let's go with what your questions are, because I want to make sure I'm talking about stuff that's relevant to y'all, not just what I think you want to know. Any questions?
Can you edit a post on Instagram after you've already?
Yes.
Can you? People can make comments on your pictures, right? Can you delete those?
Yes.
Okay, so you can edit and delete just like Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
That's good, yeah.
You can, now the only thing you can't do is you can't edit a comment, which is weird. So in Instagram, or on Facebook, if I'm like, oh, that's so awesome, and it does, oh, that's do awesome.
Right.
It's just so awesome. I can't go back and change it on Instagram.
You can't edit your own comment.
You can't,
Right.
your caption you can.
But not
But if I'm
your
commenting
comment.
on someone else's, I have to actually delete the whole dang comment and re-put it.
You misspell something.
If you misspell
Okay.
something or make a silly mistake. Which on Facebook, if you make that silly mistake,
You can edit it.
you can edit, which
Yeah.
I do like.
And video gets so much more response.
Video, especially on Instagram.
I mean, it blows my
Yeah.
mind. Like, I'll put a picture on there and like 10 people will look at it. But you put a video. It
Well,
blows
and the
up.
other thing too is anyone who actually sees it, it's counting as a view. It doesn't count a view. They don't have to watch the whole thing for it to count as a view.
Oh.
FYI. So okay, so yeah, so then this is my stories. So these are from stories. These are this is my highlight for my Young Living. That's
That's for
the cover.
Tyler.
Okay, so this is actually I'm able to like set it up to where it goes through all the products for me. Okay, so you can take someone like Tookie could do a journey through the buy. You know, the buy. You can just label it the buy, and someone can actually get on there, and you could have storied the whole process with Jaleisha from beginning to end to show like these are the special things I offer, and you can write on there. There's also apps where you can create stories so that you can make them look really good.
What program do you use?
What's it called? For stories, that program is called Unfold. Unfold. And you can create them ahead of time and load them as you want them, and then move them to your highlights, and so then you have like information about what you're doing in there. One thing I would suggest is so real quick, back to that preview app, you want to use this within like 1 or 2 degrees, the same filters, so that it looks seamless, right? And then your preview app will help you see if it's looking correct or not. You need to go. The other thing I would suggest is, yeah, those are kids. Okay, the other thing I would suggest.
Did you explain how to use filters?
Sure, I can. I will. Let me say this real quick, because this is one thing I really want to tell y'all. Go look at people in your industry's Facebook pages.
Yeah.
Because there are I started doing that for all of y'all. I was going through, like HVAC, insurance, realtors, even roofers. Like, how do you make roofing look appealing? Like, how do you make these things look sexy? Like, how do you sell them? Where's the sizzle for, pressure washing? How do you do that? And then people have done it. So you need to look at it. Like, I was thinking for y'all, like, I don't know what you guys have, but like, you have a couple different gals in your office. Like, you guys could do a group one, and so then you're doing, where one, you are no longer responsible for the entire content. You have people helping, and you just have to make sure you're using the same app, right? So like, so that the filters are all the same, right? And you kind of like set the rules and say like, okay guys, we're gonna try this. We're gonna try to make it look great. But anyone can have access. You just have to have the info, right? And so you can kind of do like any networking groups that any of y'all do. You can do pictures in your office together. What makes you different? What makes you, the best, and then you can also add like information about your kids or, special stories about clients. And you just have to be conscious of these things, right? There was an HVAC guy that I was showing Josh yesterday, that like takes all these super cool artsy photos of pipes and wires, but they look like art installations, you know what I mean? And like, he did a flat lay of his tools. A flat lay is where you literally like lay this product out and you take a picture from above. It's called a flat lay. And it was like, okay, so I don't really care what tools this guy uses, but
somebody else does.
Other people do. Yeah. Like, well, what, especially up and coming, like, hey, I want to be an HVAC guy. What kind of tools do I need? Well, this guy, what does he use? But then he also had this like really cool Father's Day post that he put up, and like, these other things that he put in. And you can also do contests on Instagram, which is a big way to build up like, or like the thing that you did yesterday, the like success tips, like that kind of stuff is huge, huge. One of the realtors I was looking at, he had like 20,000 followers. Now this guy's also doing, well, one, he's like in Beverly Hills, but he's also doing like teaching, right? So he's having these teaching moments. He's giving back to the realtor community. So he's like teaching other realtors, and he's doing like spotlights. The chiropractors that you see that have a ton of like show, like, get on and do like videos and show you different stretches and ways to do things. And then they have these cute pictures of them adjusting babies, and then they have them and their family. So if they're mixing it up, people want, like, I want a realtor that's a person. I want to know that Tookie has a husband and kids, and that, you know, she used to live in Colorado, and you know, people are desperate in this day and age for connection. And it's weird because social media is the reason why we don't have connection, but yet people want it. So they look for it through social media. So
Well,
you
you
have
just want to see, like, for us, I'll post like pictures of our employee appreciation
Yes.
things. Or
Yes.
So there's something more to our company than just selling a service.
Yes, yes. Whose food, when I'm paying you, I'm putting like food on the table for these people. Like, you know, that is like a huge thing in the service industry. So the way that you use filters, let's just do that really quick.
Can you do it on?
So if you go to, so I don't even use Instagram filters. You can, but I don't even use them.
You don't
because
so you don't use filters on Instagram?
I do, but I don't use the one Instagram supplies. Okay, so Instagram has its own filters. If you load a picture, I'll show you. So I'm on Instagram, and I add a picture. Everybody kind of see this? So that was a picture I sent Robert. Okay, there's a cute picture of my baby. So if I do next, then I have the option of different filters. Okay, I don't do that. What I would do is go into my preview app, and then I would add the same picture. Well, that's recent. Let's see. Gallery. All right, there's the same picture. Okay, so now it's sitting in my preview app. It's all the way up here, and I can go in, and I have it set to the. So I kind of have this like artsy kind of boho, moody kind of feel to my page, right? Those are, for me, it's the B filters, right? But this has a ton of different filters. So I can go in here, and these are all different groups of filters. So I can hit fall. Oh wait, that one's, I gotta pay for that one. Sometimes you have to pay for some. Okay, so this is a whole different group of filters that it's gonna have in here.
But they're all kind of similar. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's changing the color tone. It's not.
It's changing the color tone. It's changing. It's not photoshopping. Okay, so it's not gonna like smooth out your skin and make you look skinny. It's not doing that. It's
Although you
doing.
can probably buy an app.
There is an app. There is an app for that.
Okay.
I have that.
No, but you can actually get like Lightroom now. It has an app, so that's legitimate Photoshop.
It's crazy.
Lightroom.
Lightroom.
Snap.
Write that one down.
That would be Airbrush. That's an actual app as well.
I think I had that. That one you can make your waist in.
You can. Yeah. You can add makeup to your face.
Yeah.
Totally weird. It
Don't
totally
need
faked
that
me.
No makeup.
No.
So
And what was that one called?
Yeah.
Airbrush.
I gotta go play that.
But no, Airbrush is actually what I do use it for is if like if there's a lot of shadow on faces or just like to kind of like to make that kind of like smooth look. There's like you can set it to do an automatic, like you can do an automatic edit, and you can set your automatic edit. So you can say just like get rid of eyes being red and shadows on faces, and you know, hey, by the way, take that blemish off my face. Like you can literally like just do that, and it's a one button touch for that.
Is that all on the phone, or can you do it on the computer?
What I'm talking about is on the phone.
Okay.
Okay, Photoshop is going to be on the computer. Okay, so you'll kind of learn which filters you like for which things. So for skin tones, for me, I prefer B3 because it does, like B1 makes them look a little blue, you know, B3 is a more of a warmer tone, and B4 it looks really yellow.
Little jaundice.
Yeah, so I prefer B3 for skin tone. Now, if we're doing still life, I actually like B4 better. So you kind of figure out like nature. A lot of times I like B2, especially if it's bright color. So you kind of learn. But I typically always use one of these three filters. So they're all similar. So it gives a really good look. Now, say well, I'm gonna try V4, even though I know I don't like it. Well, just for this example. And if once I pull it down here into where it will go in my feed, and I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna show you the difference. See, this is like a preferred edit, right, that I like. It's a warm, you can see she's sweet and pink. And now here she's looking green, right? And I can see that before I post it to my Instagram and then have to delete it. See the difference?
Yeah.
So I can tell, oh, that looks funky. It doesn't match. And I can see that it doesn't match. That's why I like the preview. It's because you can really kind of decide.
I mean, you can look at Megan's Instagram, and then this is my personal, and nothing goes together, right? It's just jumbled mess of colors and different kinds of pictures. And what I've found is that as I have sought out things in my life that I want to see on my page, I choose the ones that look good. It's just in our being to look for things that, you know, have that catalog feel to it.
Soothing
or pleasing to the eye. We automatically go there. So you can, Megan, when she taught me about this the first time, she scrolls up her page probably 100 pictures ago, and you can see when she decided to start doing this, and the difference is night and day.
Y'all can go back and see it. It's like,
so the top 3 social medias are Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Twitter is very short, like you can only put like one little sentence, like
it's like
so
50 something words. Or
so
like that.
it's not good for all businesses. Instagram and Facebook, you can, like if you only have 30 minutes a week, you can go out there and pre-schedule and set a date and a time for that and do all your stuff, put your hashtags and everything, and save it, and then when that time that you set it for comes, it will automatically do the post for you, so that you're not having to sit there, because you don't always have a lot of time.
So like your videos, for example, you could take an hour and do 10-minute videos, or 30 minutes and do several 2-minute videos, and then load them all. Now this is just Facebook. Instagram doesn't have the same thing. Load them onto Facebook and then schedule them for the week, so that every morning
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, so every morning at 9 o'clock, all your people are seeing a success tip from Anthony, and it can become like your thing. And that's how people like make things happen on their pages.
Like I had Testimonial Tuesday.
Okay.
So you could give your tips on whatever. You could give it a little,
So
all
this
happens on Monday.
You can schedule ahead.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is an insurance company, and I'm in love with their feed. It's beautiful. Okay. So I'm gonna just kind of show you. So they have an icon. Now I will say, statistically, your logo in your profile pic, there's mixed reviews about that. A lot of people say I want to see a face. So I would suggest your face. Okay, or like you and your, like if you have a partner in your business, or like you and your wife, because you do your work together, like you could, or you two, you could do your face. Okay, but it needs to be something that and the reason is because if I met you out and I'm looking for you, I want to see your name and face because I'll recognize you. So it needs to be a picture that I can recognize as Amy. So you don't want it to be super far away. You want it to be a good headshot type picture. Okay, so for all their highlights, they have commercial, home, auto, team, community. And they're like really well done little graphics, same color, it's all put together,
I would argue the point about the face, though. I think it depends on the company, because some companies work hard on their branding and they want people to recognize
the brand.
a logo or the brand. Or
it depends, yeah.
And some people, their face is their brand.
Yeah.
Right,
Exactly.
yeah.
You get a lot of unwanted direct messages.